Welcome back. In Europe, some airports are trying to become completely disability friendly. You know what that means? Well, we're going to tell you about it. Here in the U.S., we are still a bit behind in that trend. When you send a loved one in a wheelchair, they're escorted to the gate, but then they're just left there alone to wait for a plane and hope that someone on the flight, a flight attendant, is going to help them on. If they have any cognitive issues or need help to get to the bathroom, what happens? Well, joining me now to talk about some of that is Dr. Lori James, who's working with airports to make them safer for travelers with disabilities. And we love the fact that she's working right here in the world's busiest airport, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson. We know there are some of these people who are traveling in wheelchairs, dementia, Alzheimer's disease. You're telling me that some have actually gotten lost at the airport, Dr. Lori. What?
Unfortunately, yes. We've had passengers in various airports, including Atlanta, who have wandered off the premises, who have their loved one has told maybe the gate attendant that they have Alzheimer's and to keep an eye on them, not knowing that nobody really is supposed to keep an eye on them. And so when the passenger becomes disoriented or wants to go to the restroom, if they're left alone, they're going to try to do that.
And you said something very important there. It's not their job to keep an eye on them.
That is correct. That is correct.
So you think you're telling the gate agent, hey, watch my mom. She needs a little extra help. I'm leaving now. They're not going to watch her.
No.
They're busy.
No. And most people don't know that. They think if they ask for a wheelchair, that wheelchair attendant is going to sit with their loved one at the gate until the plane takes off.
And they don't have to do that either.
They don't. They take them to the gate, and that's where they leave them. So if the plane is delayed, if anything is going on that may upset that passenger or that passenger has a need, they're at a loss.
And Dr. Laura, you said there's at least one passenger who's never been found.
Yes. That passenger was lost several years ago, actually 13 years ago, and she has never been found. She went to the restroom, and her husband was in a wheelchair. She went to the restroom. She had dementia. The wheelchair attendant didn't know, or they say he didn't know.
Both of them needed her.
That both of them needed her. Well, of course, after 13 years, you know she came out of the restroom.
Right.
But no one has found her.
Wow. You say airports need to redesign their whole protocol for travelers with disabilities.
Yes. It's my contention that airports don't believe, airlines and airports typically think that if you come to the airport to take a flight, that you should be able to do that. And sometimes persons with dementia or Alzheimer's, their loved one may not know the extent of their disease. Or as a friend of mine who traveled with an older friend of hers, she had to follow her everywhere because she didn't know when they were before they got to Europe that she had dementia, and her daughter lived in a different state. So the daughter said, when she told her about it, she said, I thought Mommy was getting a little forgetful, but I didn't think.
No. Now you have some video. Let's show some. Okay. And we don't have the video. But you actually have been working on this for a while.
This started working on it in February when I made a presentation to the airports have ADA committees, and they are beginning to, especially with autism, children with autism, they are beginning to try to become more disability friendly. But the Alzheimer's and dementia population was kind of left out.
Forgotten.
Yes. And so I mentioned it to someone about the passengers getting lost, and she suggested that I come and talk to the committee.
Wow.
And so that led to where we are now with trying to help them to become more friendly and accommodating is the best word. And the other part is airports are losing a lot of money because persons with disabilities are saying that if they were more accommodating, they will travel more every year.
So it's affecting the bottom line, the
dollar.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
So what you're doing with Hartsfield-Jackson is what, Lori?
What I'm trying to do with Hartsfield-Jackson is we're working on a way to know that a person may have a concern, sort of like the rings that you put on the child. And in Europe, they have lanyards.
Okay.
And the lanyards are bright green, and so they indicate if you see someone wandering around with a lanyard, they may need some assistance. They also have concierge desks. So if you have additional concerns, you can check in there and let them know what the concerns are. So those are some of the recommendations that I'm making.
Dr. Lori
the
Lovett,
airport.
you've got so much to talk about. We're inviting you back for another show, okay?
Thank you.
This is amazing. So if you've got more questions, you want to learn more about the services available right now, if you have a loved one that's about to travel with a disability, you can email Dr. Lori James at lrdspecial@aol.com, and we're going to have her back, so don't worry about it. Well, 2019 is a big year for a whole lot of festivals. Curlfest 2019 is headed to Atlanta, and there's a good reason you may never have heard of this one, but it's coming to town for the first time, and we're going to tell you all about it for those of you wearing your natural hair when we come back.